Hi guys, thank you so much for making the time this morning. As Phil said, appreciate it. It's the last day before Easter holidays, and hope you all got nice plans. So I'm the territory account manager for the Midlands, but I am also like the team lead for the what we call UK and Ireland and Scotland North at Meraki. So thanks very much for the time. Excited for this morning.
It's a good one before you kick off, Jack. I'll be manning the chat for Jack while he's doing the presentation. You'll hear from me again in a little bit. Any questions, stick him in the chat. We'll address anything we can during the webinar, and we can take things from there. There is a prize for the webinar today, so we will be providing an MV2, is it, Jack?
That's right, yeah, an MV2 smart
MV2 for the first demo booked on our Meraki platform following this demo. A few more details to follow, but for now I'll let Jack get on, and I will throw questions at him as you throw them at me. All right, thanks.
Thank you very much, Phil. Yeah, again, please just interrupt me at any stage, Phil, and the guys in the chat. Just pop any questions in, and yeah, look forward to it. So, without further ado, let's crack on. So, again, as Phil mentioned, the agenda today is I'll give you a brief overview of Meraki and what the full Meraki solution looks like, and what is cloud managed networking, and how it can actually benefit your organization. Talk you through how the Meraki licensing work, and then talk you through a tour of the Meraki dashboard so you can start to see what a cloud managed network looks like. And I'll be delivering the actual live Meraki network as we use across the globe. So again, if there's any areas you want me to focus on more, or any areas that you see you want to cover that's not on the agenda, put them in the chat. More than happy to speak around it. Yeah, whenever. Or as Phil mentioned, reach out to Phil. I'll put his email in the slides for a dedicated call or demo if you want to set up a trial or a demo of the Meraki dashboard. Really excited and more than happy to do so. So as Phil mentioned, we've got a competition time. So we're giving away for free a Cisco Meraki MV2 smart camera and a 3-year license to the first person who reaches out to Phil to arrange a dedicated demo or free product trial of Meraki. So ping if you like what you see today, ping Phil. We can get a dedicated time in. We can talk through your network as it is today, how it looks in a cloud managed network, and then start to give you some free kit to actually put and have like as a dummy network in your environment. Or if you want to just play around with it at home, for 1 to 2 to 3 months, again, more than happy to get you out. I'm really keen to get you guys just feeling how Meraki works. So just introducing Meraki then. So essentially, Meraki, one of the Cisco Meraki was one of the first people to essentially found cloud networking. So essentially, it was set up by 3 grad students at MIT. They wanted to essentially look at an easy way to deploy and manage their access points through controllers in the cloud rather than having physical controllers on site. Fast forward to 2012, obviously acquired by Cisco, so now becoming Cisco Meraki, and then obviously using the power of Cisco and all the huge networking beast that is Cisco to give us this full networking portfolio, not just the access points now. So I'll go into the portfolio later. So we managed to develop from there. And then in 2017, we actually expanded into the IoT world. So things like environmental sensors and smart cameras, similar to the smart camera that we're giving away free today. And then today, we've got 16 plus years of designing scalable and secure cloud architecture. So all of our products are 100% cloud managed via GUI with no controllers on site. I'll talk about our portfolio in a bit more breadth and depth in a moment. But again, so we've really taken the power and the resources of Cisco and use it to further our clients from there. So again, a bit of more information about Cisco Meraki. So we've got over 700,000 customers globally. Cisco Meraki is Cisco is a market leader in the cloud managed wireless LAN market. So we are the largest player in this market. We've got over 4 million customer networks actually set up around the globe, 13 million Meraki devices online and switched on. The thing about Meraki as well, it's all open API. So You can have a different scene platforms or build your own different API calls into the Meraki dashboard and actually pull the information from the Meraki dash into your own platforms, or however you want to use the data. And we actually have 8 billion monthly API calls on that, on those APIs. And then we have 191 million daily end user devices connected into the Meraki dashboard. So you're starting to think, oh, this is a lot of devices across different customers. But obviously with this and with the licensing structure, which I'll go into, we actually have a 24/7 support structure built into our licensing. So, we always on here to help you, throughout your cloud network journey. And this is obviously made possible through how we take advantage of AI. And so AI underpins everything we do at Meraki and basically accelerates how we help our business, help our clients today, and how we deliver the dashboard. Again, if you've got any questions at all, just ping in the chat. Appreciate I'm flying through this because I want to make sure that we've got enough time to cover the demo and get into the actual meat of it. But again, so what is this cloud networking? So as I mentioned at the start, you'll hear a lot of different definitions of cloud networking, but essentially it's just managing your network via an online single pane of glass dashboard. So people think, oh, if I have to have cloud products, I need to put in, different hyperscalers, or I need to put in different server and data center infrastructure to have these different cloud applications sit on it. It's not the case with Meraki. You literally just need the access point that's the only bit of physical hardware you'd need. So you only need the access point, or let's say you only got a switch, you'll only need the switch. Same for the firewalls. So again, it's like, for example, when you join Meraki, they actually give you a firewall, a Meraki firewall, and an access point. So I've got a cloud managed enterprise networking at home, and I'm troubleshooting and prioritizing VoIP and WebEx traffic, and I'm nowhere near technical to do that if it was via a controller or via like a dedicated route on an actual router. So again, it's a really intuitive dashboard is how cloud networking is built on. So you'll see that a lot of these cloud dashboards from across the market are built around you having this really quick onboarding experience where you can literally just plug in an access point, it'll connect to the network and then be provisioned from there, and it'll automatically pull down all your policies from there. So you're not going into the CLI of each individual access point and trying to code it from there, because it's automatically pulling it from the dashboard. And then with Meraki, we obviously, as I mentioned to you before, with the Cisco Meraki acquisitions, we're now backed by real world data from the industry's largest cloud networking data lake. So obviously all this data we're constantly looking to improve and essentially like help you regulate against what is the most successful networking companies, what are they doing, and help you to right size that from there. So again, I'll show you this in person in a second, but I just coming through the actual Meraki stack then. So as I mentioned, we started with access points, and the differences with Meraki is that you'll get obviously very strong players in certain spaces. So you'll have strong players such as Juniper Mist and Access, but they won't be as strong in the security and the SD and the firewall space. Or you have someone like Fortinet who's very strong in security and SD-WAN, but not as strong in the access points space or the IoT space, for example. So Meraki is one of the few vendors and the strongest vendor in the market that can actually do across all of these full stack solutions, all managed by a single dashboard, which is really key because you don't want to, you'll have, I'm sure a lot of you guys who joined the call this morning will have different vendors across your network, not even just your as a network, as your infrastructure as a whole. You'll have to log into a storage platform for your data center, and then need to log into like an access point platform to manage your access points, log into your firewall platform to manage your firewalls. So you're in this different siloed approach, and with Meraki, as I mentioned, you pull it into one cloud managed dashboard, which is why we have become so strong is because, again, it's really easy just to, once you start with like a single access point, you can then jigsaw a switch onto it and manage it again by the dashboard. And then you can jigsaw on a Cisco Meraki MX firewall. And then again, as I mentioned to you from the start, and something I'd really recommend you reaching out to Phil for is any of these products you can trial free of charge. So if you've got access points and switches at the moment and you want to play around with some of the SD-WAN and security feature sets, or looking at our unified SASE solution, we can send you, these Meraki firewalls for free for 2, 3, 4 months for you to just play around in your network. So again, I really urge you to reach out to Phil to set up these trials, and we can do it. Again, we'll cover all the shipping costs. We'll get a Meraki product trial engineer to help you set up this new Meraki network, or if it's a new products in the network, help you set up this new product. We'll give you obviously lots of online training and virtual training to help you with this journey of understanding and playing around with Cisco Meraki. So the main thing we find with this is that 94% of our customers actually say that they save time with Meraki just because of how easy and how straightforward the dashboard is. As I mentioned, you're not going into your firewalls and having to plug in an Ethernet cable and start to code it from there. It's all done through this simple GUI. And again, that's why we are backed by a lot of the 75% of the Fortune 500, because they understand that this cloud networking is actually the way forward for a networking approach. Cool. Bit of a mouthful there, but again, each individual each individual product set, more than happy to go into in a bit more detail. I've actually got slides at the end, but where we can pull each product up and understand a bit more detail about, if you want to go into more access points, and we can talk about Wi-Fi 6E, or we can talk about the new switching range, where we've got the Cisco Catalyst range now on the Cisco Meraki dashboard, and managing Cisco Catalyst switches on the Meraki dashboard. I'm more than happy to go into it. But again, I'd really recommend reaching out to Phil and find a bit more information about it. I know you'll hear me say this quite a lot, but just to remind you guys that any Meraki SKU, I mean literally anything from the 100K list products to the the smaller MDM licensing, it can be trialed for free of charge for 1 to 3 months. So really recommend you reaching to Phil about this. As I mentioned, the first person to reach out to Phil and set up a demo or a trial does get this free camera for them to either use at home or use in their own organization. So yeah, make sure you ping Phil. So I want to understand how the access points work. Ping Phil, and we can set up a demo from there. Perfect. And as I mentioned, how does actual cloud networking benefit you and benefit the rest of the customers? So one of the main things we see, as I mentioned, is time saving. So you've got this zero touch provisioning model where it allows you to provision these products at scale. As I mentioned, they just need an active internet or uplink connection, and then they will automatically start pulling this configurations, VLANs, scheduling, policies from the Meraki dashboard. So we've seen people they've been given like 2 weeks to set up a network. We've seen people who have been told last minute by marketing that they've got a pop-up shop that they need to set up. Again, we can get you the kit within like 4 days from order. So it is really quick to set up this kit, and then it automatically pull the dashboard, and then you've got a full enterprise network, with your own secure firewall policies, etc., set up straight away, which is why people I think like cloud networking and why people go for Cisco Meraki. We see a lot of the time where, because it's all remote managed networking, you no longer have to drive to the actual sites. So you're telling your engineering staff that you can all manage it from a single pane of glass dashboard, and you can actually get active alerts when, for example, users are having authentication errors on access points, or you're having like certain uplink difficulties on like from an ISP uplink coming in. You can get that proactive alert. So rather than you getting bombarded with tickets, you can start to be more proactive and start to say, actually, you know, we fixed this problem before the users have even noticed anything's happened. And then you can start to also twist this in another way where you can say, well, look, to the heads of the businesses, we're actually helping improve your sustainability number because we're stopping engineers driving to site to actually fix these issues. So your IT's carbon footprint is actually lowering from there, and that's quite a big thing. I'll go into sustainability a little bit on the dashboard later, but again, it's another way we can start to see how this model, this cloud networking model, can benefit you guys. And as I mentioned, because it's so intuitive to understand and learn, as I mentioned, I do it, and I'm not as technical as I'm sure you guys are on the call. You start to lower these ongoing training costs. It's really easy to onboard your new engineers and team on it. As I mentioned, there's no hardware controllers anymore, so it's all done. The controller is the cloud, is the Meraki dashboard. So there's no we eliminate the need for any of those on-premises hardware to that. I've talked about the sustainability goals as well, but then, as I mentioned, because you're getting the more proactive alerting, you're actually getting your mean time to resolution or mean time to identification of the issues dropping massively. And that's also not just from an issue reporting, but also with the Meraki dashboard and with cloud networking models, you can start to pull screenshots of like topology pages. So let's say you required by your industry compliance to screenshot your topology once a month. You can actually just do it in a click of a button and pull your whole topology, and then you can do a change log so you can see that which users have been doing which changes in the dashboard and start to sort of understand, okay, maybe that needs to, this person did this change and we need to change it because we're seeing some user errors. Again, so it's all through this dashboard from there. Again, please keep some questions in the chat. I appreciate I'm going very fast, but please do reach out to Phil as well.
Yeah, we've got a few questions going on here, Jack.
Yeah,
so I'll first one we had is the Meraki platform compatible with Meraki Go? Already been answered, but essentially they're two different GUIs, so they're two different dashboards, but from a hardware level and from a data level, they will pass traffic between each other. They're just managed separately. And questions coming from Andrew. He's got a Meraki MX75 at his head office, and he just wants to know what he'd need to install in a branch office so that he could push the internet back through head office and manage users.
Yeah, absolutely. So in that case, we could look to trial one of the MX68s. And I'll show you in a minute there, Andrew, where we can turn on something called Auto VPN, where it's literally within a click of like 3 buttons, you've turned on a VPN network, and we can do that either through a mesh. So obviously having all the different MXs point to each other, or we can do hub and spoke, where you have all your branch offices pointing towards your MX75 in your head office. And I'll go through that in a second. That's a good question. Also, yeah, with Meraki Go as well, we tend to see with the Meraki product stack, which I can go into at the end, we see Meraki Go as obviously the smaller home deployments or smaller, tiny sort of office deployments. But a lot of the time, it makes more sense to put in a Meraki enterprise solution, which again, I'll go into in a bit more detail and actually show you what that is. But in terms of the GUIs, they are very similar. But the Cisco Meraki one is obviously the more enterprise version of it, and you can do a little bit more with it. The specifics, I'm not sure off the top of my head, but I can find some links and send that out to you afterwards. Good questions. I keep the questions coming. Keep grilling me, and yeah, I appreciate the questions. Cool. Right, so then almost finished, and then we'll go into the dashboard. So Meraki is a 1-to-1 ratio of license to hardware. So every hardware would need an active license. obviously with this license, you get this centralized management, you get these active firmware and security updates, you get 24/7 enterprise support, so phone and email support and chat support is coming down the line. You get warranty and advanced replacement throughout the lifetime of the product. So as long as the product is not in the sale, you'll always look to support it from there. And then, to be honest, even if it has gone into support and it's still licensed, we will try and support it on best endeavors. So as long as it's got a license, obviously we'll do everything we can to support it via this 24/7 support. And then, as I said, you'll see it with other vendors where they'll have, just for one access point, they have like 6 or 7 different licenses stacked on top of each other, and it gets quite hard to manage. Where with Meraki, it's literally just one license. You get all these features, you get all the features of the dashboard, and essentially how the dashboard will typically be set up is a co-term model. So all of your devices will be co-termed to a single date. Every time you add on like a device or a license, it'll push the date out more and more by the weight of that one license. So we get it where if you're adding small bits to your dashboard, some customers actually never have to renew because they're always adding and scaling out their Meraki network and adding it more and more, if that makes sense. But again, we offer some quite aggressive pricing on on the licensing as well as education. We can go to up to 10-year licensing on the hardware if that's something you guys want to look at. So if you are a school, we do have quite aggressive licensing. I think it's 5 years 10 years for the price of 5 years on the Meraki licensing. So again, for public sector, do reach out to Phil and we can start to get some commercials together, even if you just want to get a budget together with the new tax year coming up, etc. Now, I mentioned the co-term model, where it's the classic one where it's org wide, and this date changes pretty regular. We also have a grace period of 30 days if you do miss this expiry date, just to make sure we can set everything up in that 30-day grace period. We're introducing a new licensing scheme called subscription licensing, where it's this next generation of our licensing. To be honest, it's not coming to the market until I think end of sort of Q3, Q4 this year. So I think we'll do like a bit more information on that. But it's essentially saying, rather than having each individual SKU will have a license, this is basically saying this group of switches, like I need 12 switching licenses, I need 12 access point licenses, and that's it. Not I need 12 MS250 48 port licenses, which is what the co-term model is. So you're basically bundling it in as a group of products rather than individual models. And then if it's large enough, we can actually look at an enterprise agreement with Cisco. So let's say that you've got some other products outside of Cisco Meraki that you use with Cisco, such as the WebEx calling, or Cisco DNA, or any other Cisco products software. We can actually bundle the Cisco Meraki licensing and software and the Cisco collaboration software license costs together, and you obviously get a bulk discount via what we call an enterprise agreement, where you can pull as many licenses as you want in that time, and then we'll bill you in like yearly periods for that. Again, that's a beast in itself, the enterprise agreement. Happy to go into it in a bit more detail if people are interested, but it does require like a slightly higher minimum commitment of software. So I would say it's for slightly medium to large customers. But again, if you think that you have different products, if you have 2 or more products for Cisco, reach out to Phil, reach out to me, and we can check what the thresholds are for you guys and go from there.
Yeah, as I said in the chat, we'll be doing a separate piece around subscription licensing.
Oh, brilliant.
So details will follow at some point.
Thanks, Phil. Cool. Okay. Then, as mentioned, we've got this enterprise support. We've also have obviously training and enablement online. I'll share the slides afterwards. So you've got this enablement, but Again, if you ever do want a bit more training, or you want this live instructor-led training, just reach out to Phil and we can set something up for you. As I said, the more you guys understand the Meraki environment, obviously the more you're using it, the more you're enjoying it, and the more you're getting your money's worth. So please do reach out to us if you want to have a look at some training. And then Phil, would you mind just covering the next slide? I just want to have a little section on Protos and why, you know, as Cisco, we sort of believe in Protos to help us in there, right? I think I've given you control, Phil. Does that work? Oh, hang on. I'll drive it, Phil. I think you're on mute as well. I'll drive it because I need to like shut WebEx down if I have to give you access. I think you're on mute on my side. Sorry, Phil. I think you're on mute. Still on mute. Let me just end control for you. Try and come off mute. There you go.
Right, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Schoolboy webinar.
That's all right. Just the joys of a live webinar, Phil. It's just all good.
So as I was saying, seemingly to myself, Protos Networks were founded back in 2016. We are a specialist enterprise network and security company. Our directors are Joe, Darren, and Damien. They make up our board of directors. In 2018, when GDPR kicked in, the company saw a big increase in the kind of services we were requiring and span out another branch of the business. So that's our cybersecurity side of the business. And that works very well in conjunction with a security message around Cisco and Meraki. Next slide, please, Jack. So our partnership with Cisco itself, one thing that separates Protos from a lot of companies is we do only deal with Cisco, and from a network point of view, we are exclusively Meraki partners. Our solutions aren't based on anything else. We don't enter different technologies into there, and that is because we see the value in an end-to-end solution, the advanced management, security, visibility you get from using something end to end. And the more you use it, the more Meraki you are, you'll see the greater that visibility and neutrality of your network, and that is immensely important from a security and an agile workforce point of view. Next slide, please, Jack. So as I say, Cisco makes up the core of everything we do. I'm not going to talk through all of these, don't worry. I'm conscious of Jack having time to do his demo. Just click again, Jack. Should push through. Yeah, so as I say, we do enterprise networks. That is everything you would expect. So LAN, wireless, SD-WAN, firewalls, access control. That is all exclusively done via Meraki, via all of the Meraki end-to-end products, be it the MXs or the MVs. And security side of the business, we are a Cyber Essentials testing center, so we can do certifications. We deal with a number of IT partners on that. And we also do a lot of wraparound services around umbrella and security control and SaaS endpoint protection. Next slide, please, Jack. On top of that, what we can do is we wrap around our services. A big part of what Protos do is around the managed network. So that is NOC, essentially, Network Operations Center, and our SOC, Software Operations Center. If you click again, Jack, it will just fill out the rest of it. So we can just, and that allows companies to outsource their network or security centers to us. It's a fully managed service available 24/7 for both the NOC and the SOC, and those are both handled in-house by ourselves, by our in-house security teams. And we're in the process of moving offices. It's going to be done in around July, and with that, we'll be building our own in-house, secure, walled off. We're going to brick them in every day. NOC and SOC centers. That works hand in hand with our compliance services we provide, so Cyber Essentials, IASME, cyber assurance, and the security penetration testing services we provide. So that is, let's say, pen testing, cloud testing, red teaming, blue teaming, vulnerability testing, all of that. Next slide, please, Jack.
I think that is
That's
accurate.
it. So yeah, yeah, I've brushed through that quite quickly because I am conscious and I want Jack to be able to do his proper
Thanks, Phil.
demo. But please do reach out to us if you want any more information on Protos or Meraki. I'm happy to come in and see you or do any kind of online meetings required. Over to you.
Thank you very much. So as I mentioned, this is the Cisco Meraki dashboard. So we have over almost 5 million networks worldwide. And essentially, this is how a cloud management dashboard would look. So you'll see that a lot of other vendors have started to copy us where it comes to even like the layout and the GUI. But essentially, you'll have one single pane of glass dashboard where you can manage your whole estate through this. So you've got on the actual network health page here, you can go into individual clients. So let's say I'm based in London, but let's say I want to jump over to San Francisco. In the matter of like seconds, I'm now plugged into the San Francisco network and starting to pull information from the San Francisco network. We have this new assurance page where we can actually talk through what are the actual proactive alerts that are given us, and it's using AI to actually examine what our health score is across the business. So currently it's saying it's good because it's examined us, all of our clients, network devices, infrastructure, connectivity, applications across the whole estate. So across the 30,000 odd clients, etc., that we've got that work for that are connected to the Cisco Meraki network. However, we're seeing that some issues with some of the clients. So we'll drill into this, and then we'll see that, okay, a lot of the issues are with association. So then we can drill a little bit further into those instances and say, okay, let's bring out an individual client at this page, and then we'll launch straight into the actual specific client page. Let me just pick a actual one that's connected at the moment. 1 second. Here we go. So as I mentioned, we can start to pull out individual clients from there. So I'll try and find a wireless user. So let's say client type, wireless. Let's see who's connected. We want to see who's used the most. Let's say this Station 3 Bevan is used, this MacBook Pro is used the most. Let's jump into Station 3 Bevan, the client itself, and then start to understand what the Meraki dashboard can see from there. So as I mentioned, we are starting to see the actual journey that the client took to take and connect to the dashboard. So we've got the client connecting to this specific access point, which we can go into in a bit more detail. And then we've got that one connecting to an access point. We can see what applications they've connected to over the last day, and we can go back to a month if we want to. So let's say we've got a specific application using a lot. We've obviously blurred some out because of our internal applications. But then you can see what policies you've applied to them, what network the actual uplink network they're connected to from there. And we can see what connections that they've had over time. Obviously, no errors as an example. We can see which access points that they've had issues connecting to. Going to the performance tab, we can see again what the actual level of quality this client's had coming into connecting to these different access points, and then we can create like a timeline of where this where this client has connected to different access points. So let's say it's someone complaining about Wi-Fi on their laptop. We can see that, oh, actually, it's because they move around the office way too much, or they actually they've got some issues authenticating with your Radius server. So let's try and like unpack that from there. Again, this is way more intuitive than the old school of networking, where you are trying to find out an issue, then having to go to the guy's laptop and then understand what's going on with the actual person's laptop. Let's drill into like a random access point to show you what an access point looks like. again, very similar thing. You can actually apply your topology to the access point. So it then shows me where this access point is, and it shows me what other access points as part of your network it can see, what SSIDs we've told the access point to pump out, what radio settings that we've got. We can then start to look at actually unpacking the actual radio settings in there. So let's say that we've got a radio profile where we want to put in a enable on all SSIDs, but we want to do something called band steering, where obviously we're trying to create an equal usage of the 2.4 and the 5 gigahertz and even 6 gigahertz band on the Wi-Fi 6E models. Then we can actually actively do that band steering approach where they will try and encourage the users to use both of the radio settings. From there, popping back to the access point, as I mentioned, there's different tools that we can do as part of that. So we can ping it or get it to ping certain domain names or IP address. You can also see where you can make sure that you're actually looking at the right access point, get it to blink its LEDs. And then, as I mentioned at the start, we can see what this, for example, this access point is now using very high on 2.4 gigahertz. So what I can do is I can apply it to a different radio frequency profile, which will try and encourage the band steering a bit more, rather than have it where it's overusing the 2.4 gigahertz from there. And then, as I mentioned, we can see what different clients have connected to this over the last day or so. Again, I'm flying through this, but I really recommend setting up a dedicated time to go through each demo, and we can talk about how your environment looks, if it's like a manufacturing warehouse or like a retail estate or whatever it could be. We can unpack this in a bit more detail. A couple of things I just want to pull out. So on the actual access points themselves, we can do some firewall and traffic shaping. So when the actual users are connecting to the access point, that's when we can actually do some levels of firewall rule sets on the access point. So things like blocking certain IPs and having like layer 7 firewall rules on access points. And then let's say you've got a guest network and we want to try and shape some traffic on it. So what we can do is then create a new rule to say, actually, I know this is on this certain SSID. What I want to do is actually only have 2 megabytes of data going through it. And then let's say I want to do, I want to try and block things like gaming. Let's say, I don't know, someone's playing old school and they're playing Doom. I want to specifically like shape the traffic so that if someone tries to access Doom, for example, then we can like say, oh, let's actually try and limit the amount of bandwidth they get from there. And then again, we can set different PCP tags or change the different the different priority of that from a specific IP on the actual access point. Then another thing I wanted to show you as well is we see like the maps used for things such as like lost devices in schools and lost devices in offices. So they can see, okay, I can see it's connected to this access point. I can actually try and triangulate with the position of this like lost laptop, for example, for schools quite frequently. Here we can see it actually creates a heat map for the different Wi-Fi routes across your floor plan. So let's say you're a retail customer and you want to try and see, okay, which parts of a shop is busier than others. This is when you can start to give your value back to the things such as like your sales team and your different your products. Maybe you want to put your more expensive products within a certain area. We can do that. Conscious of time, Phil, so I'm gonna wrap up very quickly because it's a very high level overview, and we can go into more detail of each product. But last thing I want to pull out is on the switches as well. As I mentioned, we've got cloud managed switches from there. A big sustainability play at the moment is doing something called port scheduling, where on specific switches we can then apply certain profiles where we can turn off the switches at certain times. So Let's say you want to turn off the PoE port on a switch at a certain time, and we can actually say it where, you know, at 8 p.m. turn it off, and it'll stop powering things like handsets and stuff. So you're actually saving money from there. I've blasted my way through the demo. I appreciate we've only got like 2 minutes left, so I just want to make sure we are clear. Like, as I said, it's really intuitive dashboard, but the main thing is let us show you in person. Let you know, reach out to Phil, get a demo set up. We can talk through your environment, understand, you know, what you're trying to do, and what does your next sort of network deployment look like, and then we can get the kit in your hands and you can play around with it for 2-3 months from there. But again, it's really easy to manage and control. As I mentioned, I'm not technical at all, but again, I'm now applying different traffic shaping rules and stuff, and at the actual access point layer, even outside of like a firewall or a router, which I absolutely love about Meraki. So this has basically been cloud networking in a nutshell. Let me just go back to my Prezzo very quickly. Again, so I had more slides to go into, but let's wrap it up for time. So if you're interested in finding out more, reach out to Phil, again, for your own demo and trial. You've got his email there, but it's phil.lewis@protosnetworks.com. Let's get some trials in your hands, get some demos in your hands. Again, I really appreciate your time this morning. And over to you, Phil, to close it off.
Yep. Thanks, Jack. Thanks for that. As you said, this was a very, very fly-through presentation. There is a lot to go into Meraki. This is why it's a series of 6 webinars to start with. So the next ones, Jack, is the webinar.
Each time. Yeah. Let me, sorry, go into that one.
Yeah. So as I say, this is the second of 6 that we've got arranged. Each one of these will go into a little bit more specific detail about a different part of Meraki. So the next 2 for next month are all around SD1. So Andrew, around traffic, around pushing your internet traffic back through head office and for setting up VPN, things like that. Probably the next 2 webinars in a series will address those and show in more detail what can be done. Then the last 2, which we'll be hosting in May, these will focus much more on the bits of Meraki outside of what you might call the standard network, so the standard stack. So that is the camera range, so the security camera range, what can be done with analytics and what can be done to say sustainability, care of duty, that kind of thing. And then the final one we're doing will be all about sustainability and how we're using Meraki. Jack touched on it with port scheduling before, but using sensors, using information built into Meraki dashboard, you can, you know, start seeing actual savings on power. You can see, you know, savings on response times and everything. So please join any of those other webinars. They're all free to join. That's this one. Each webinar you attend, you will get entered into an opportunity to win not just a camera, but also we have a number of Meraki sensors. We have a box here to show you. That will be given away at the end of the series. We'll do a raffle for anyone who's attended a webinar. Names will be pulled out and you get a chance to win those, which is brilliant. So I'll just have a quick check, just check if I've not missed anybody's questions. I don't think I have. But with that, thank you very much for attending. Everybody enjoy your extended weekends. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Cheers, guys.
Thank you
Have a good one.
Jack. See you. Goodbye.